Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special interview. I have a very special guest, Heidi Vandenberg. Heidi, thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Give a little background for everyone here. I first saw Heidi over in Rex Bear's channel, and then with our good friend Jeff Doherty over at his channel. And Heidi, when I listened to you, I have to tell you, I was amazed. Now, a little fair disclosure to everyone here. Heidi and I have been talking before we actually started recording this. And folks, I just got to tell you, what this woman revealed to me, she did not know me. She did not have anything other than an email exchange. That's all it was. And what she has just told me, it's going to take me at least, I got to tell you, Heidi, it's going to take me a little bit to internalize this. So, Heidi, tell me a little bit about yourself and to our audience. You are a Vedic life coach, right?
That's what I call it.
Okay, so help explain on that, what that is.
Okay, so I help people and help people achieve their goals and get over things and, live the best happy life they can possibly live with using a birthday. That's what I like to say. Knowing your birthday, yeah, in your time of birth. But it is important you know your time of birth. And, I got into this because, for my own benefit. Like, it was not, oh, I'm going to be a Vedic life coach, I'm going to do this. It was never that way. I met Rex and things changed overnight for me. Okay, so, but I learned astrology.
He has an influence like that, He
does. He does. But I learned I learned the A word. We'll call it the A word because, I was very religious. I went to
You were devout Christian, right?
Big time. Yeah, I was saved daily. Every day I would get saved. I was like, accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior every day. I'm sorry for, this was me. I used to write Heidi loves Jesus on the walls, glow in the dark paint. I went to a school that they spoke in tongues. I tried so hard to speak in tongues. I couldn't speak in tongues. I used to come home and cry that I couldn't speak in tongues. And I'd be like, why can't I do it? And, it really, I had a rough scenario, things that happened in my life. My brother had cerebral palsy. He had a mindset of an 8-month-old, and I was made fun of a lot, and my life changed because of my brother. And it really was hard for me to deal with, and people were mean. Kids were mean. I was bullied big time. And I went to Christian school, so it felt a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But to really make a long story short, I really didn't believe in I've never believed astrology. I didn't even know what astrology was. I knew I was a Virgo, so I would read Virgo, I'd be like, that's not me, that's not me at all. But I was always interested in knowing what happens when you die, where are we going, what's going to happen when we die, why are we here? Okay, yeah. Why are we on this life? Why are they my parents? Why is this my brother? Why did this happen to my brother? This was my mission. And what's wrong with me in relationships? What's wrong with me in everything? Why am I just...
The questions we all struggle with.
Exactly. And, I really struggled, and I sold homes so I thought, I'm just going to get real successful. I'm just going to work like a maniac because that's what I'm supposed to do, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I started selling homes very young, and I did really well at it. But it was still void. I still didn't have that good feeling. It just wasn't there. I was still missing something. And I did end up selling homes to a whole community of people from India, from Hyderabad, the same community. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, so there was not a lot of culture in my life. And, so I had to learn these cultures. And I sold also to some Asian, Chinese, some Koreans and Chinese people when I had to learn feng shui and vatsu to learn why they're buying houses if the front door is this way. Why, so I had to learn all this stuff. So I bought a book on vatsu and I'm reading it. Mind you, I was going through a rough time, divorces, it was rough. But I was still trying to hold it together, going to work. That's why I would just work it off, work. And I'm reading this book, and it starts talking about astrology. And I'm like, astrology? Google.
Immediately the cry, they do the cry. Yeah.
So what's so funny is I never heard ever that astrology was bad. Because if I did, I probably wouldn't have studied it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that was never talked about to me. Oh, the astrology's for the devil or whatever. So I just didn't really think that. And I'm glad I didn't, because if I did, the first time I heard that was on the Leak Project on Rex's show. So basically, I Googled Indian astrology. I had to find out what time I was born, put my birthday in and my time, said you're a Scorpio rising. I Googled Scorpio rising. That was me. And then it was like, you're a Pisces moon. Well, that was me. Okay. You're a Leo sun. That was me. And then I was sold because I have a heavy chart. Okay. So then I had a reading from an Indian astrologer, told me I was going to die in a bar fight. Like, it was really, really negative. Okay.
Wow.
My chart's really heavy. I have a rough chart, to say the least. I've got a crazy conjunction, and they were all so negative. It was like horrible. People were like, you could have been a terrorist, or you could have, I mean, it was really bad. And I'm like, well, what about, so I just kept searching and spending money on readings and more readings to try to see if hopefully an astrologer would say something good, because there was so much accurate stuff that they did say, which scared me. It was like all this stuff that was
like
me.
Being born under a bad sign, huh?
Yeah, to say the least. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I've been studying it ever since. I bought the software, and I studied astrology day in, day out for 4 years, 5 years. I asked every single person that I would meet what time you were born. When people would come in to walk to my model home, I'd be like, have a seat. Do you know what happened to know what time you were born? Like, I asked everybody, and I studied from all these people's charts, and I got really good at it. And I mean, it never failed. And I was like, this is so true. I don't care what, I feel like I was telling Jeff that I feel like I got closer to God with astrology, because
he made the heavens.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't he communicate by that which he created?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Common sense. We've got to start with the basics. Yeah. So, and I just I loved it. Gave me answers. And then I was in control. I didn't like that person. I'd pull their chart. I could understand it. I could accept them, and I could get over it. I could get over people and be like, oh, it's in their chart. Or I knew, like, I was going through this rough time frame, so I'm going to have to look out for this, and this. And I did. And because there's ways, your chart, your birth chart is, I look at it like it's like it's your birth certificate, your papers, right?
I swear it's even better than my birth certificate.
It's way better.
Yeah, it's like a DNA test.
Every little thing that you've ever thought about thinking about doing in your entire life. And every little thought you ever thought about, whatever it might have been, I'm able to tell you that. And it's like, I went to school for corrections, criminal justice, law enforcement. I wanted to be a cop. That's my Mars K2 conjunct in the first house in Scorpio. So but no, that's not a terrorist. That's also a law enforcement. That's cops. Yeah. That's somebody that's obsessed with astrology is what that is. Not one person said to me, you're going to be an astrologer. You're going to be doing astrology and doing. Nobody said that. Nobody. Okay. And so I look at charts completely different, with a different can of eyes, because I have a chart that's kind of dicey. So, a lot of astrologers don't even like the charts that are dicey. I love them. The more diciness, the better for me. It's like, the crazier the life is, it's probably the chart for me. And I can handle it. And I don't judge. And I think, like, if everybody had an astrology reading or had a reading and could understand this at a young age, the world would be a better place.
Boy, I am glad you brought that up, because I think that is one of the things that we as a species, and particularly in the Western world, have shunned away with. And you and I were talking before we went live here that if I had only known what you had just told me, because I lived it and you didn't know it, if I had known that when I was about 12 or 15, I could have made some life decisions that would have saved my ass a whole lot of pain.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you get wisdom because if you're fortunate enough to live long enough, you figure it out, but it always comes with a high price.
Right.
And so when we talk about the Vedic, the Hindu side of this, I found it very interesting when we were talking. It brings so much light to understanding. Is that what you found?
Yes. And, then, I knew nothing about India whatsoever. But what happened was I got obsessed with India. Like I was like, I am Indian. I think I'm about I need to be there. I need to, like, that's me. The music, I was connected to it. I was connected to the food. I was connected to the people. Like, throw me in a room full of Indian people, I'm the happiest person in the world. Like, it's weird. And, and this is why it made me really get into like the past lives and the karma and all this stuff, because I watched this documentary called Mother India.
Okay.
And it was about these little kids who were homeless in India, and they would cut off their arms and stick under the trains to get rupees, okay, for money, and beg. And then they would go home to their homeless crew. It's like wolf pack, I called it, of other little kids that were homeless. There was like older ones and, older ones that were kind of, and these kids were the happiest kids I have ever seen. Like, I get sad. And it really, really, really like struck something. And I'm like, we're here in America, spoiled little brats. We have no, like, I didn't know, unless you've traveled and seen that hand on hand, like, you don't know you don't really are unaware, and you just, maybe it hit me that day. And I was like, how are these kids so happy? Like, they're homeless. They don't have anything. This doesn't even make sense. And then when I really got into the whole India, like everything in India, and I got to just the population, there's 1 billion people in India. There's not even 1 billion people in the United States of America. India is the size of Texas, New Mexico, and California. Why do we think we're right? Like, why is it us? This little tiny number. Then you see India. And it just kind of like opened up my eyes to thinking a little more outside of the box.
And their belief system is ancient. I mean, it predates even, it's equal to the Mesopotamians.
And let's think about that. They don't eat meat.
Yeah.
Okay? They don't eat meat. They don't eat, they don't, yes, there's some bad seeds in India. Don't get me wrong. I mean, not everybody's like this. But for having that many people there, you don't see the majority of people, they're all very spiritual, very karmic, very superstitious for sure, but they believe in karma, so they're really focused on that, and they know. And if you ask an Indian person about the Vedas or the Rig Veda, they're like, oh, you won't understand. And like, because they just know it's right. They just know. I mean, it is what it is. And they arrange marriages from this astrology. And everything is done from this. And yes, not all of India is perfect. Yeah, I know.
No, but they're part of the they're humans.
They are, but the majority of them, they're smart. Indians made the numeric system. The numeric system, the number 0, okay, the 1 to 10 or 1 to 9, whatever. And when you know this, everything's run on the numeric system. Yes. So when Britain colonized India, they stole all their stuff. There's a lot of things, and they took it. And there's a lot of, like, why do you CERN the Shiva emblem? Think about it. Like, all these things were stolen basically from India. And I might just be a little biased, and when I read my chart with Indian astrology, and it was dead on. I mean, it was me to a T where I didn't even want to know. I mean, it's deep. And it's like, Western astrology definitely can be correct. Because Western way, I'm Sagittarius rising, I'm an Aries moon, and I'm a Virgo sun. Mm-hmm. And okay, I can see that, but that's a little more, makes me sound a little bit better than all that, my Scorpio, my Pisces, that described my karma, me. It's more like it's not the floof. It's more of this is what and I'm more of I want to know the details. I want the truth, right?
Yeah.
I don't want the wrong expectations. I want the real deal. I want the worst case scenario, and then I'm happy. And because you can make decisions, I do believe that astrology is a roadmap, but you're driving the bus. And you're in control. So
Yes.
I do believe that you cannot let it control your life. But if you don't find it and you don't know these things, these planets will take control of you. And I learned
Yes.
this from he's on my channel and I do 2 interviews with him. Cross Trivedi. He's literally genius man, very spiritual. He brought the 27 nikshatras to, that's what I study,
Yeah.
to fruition and really brought a lot of knowledge to them. So I have a lot of respect for him and he's phenomenal.
Heidi, could we just take with me, you mentioned about the chakras,
Yeah.
and this is a knowledge many Westerners either don't know about, have heard something that typically has been manipulated and brought into light. Let's talk about the human body, the human soul, the being, the triune being. When we talk about chakras, what are we talking about here?
Okay, so I'm really not the chakra girl, but
Okay.
I would talk about nikshatras.
Okay. All right.
Even in the body is
Mhm.
all astrological. The head, Aries. Aries is the head. It's the first house. And you can predict health with this stuff. Like you can see the health problems somebody's going to have. The second house, is the throat. So if somebody has a conflicted throat, second house, they can have throat things. They also can just have a bad mouth. You have to take these things and you interpret them a million different ways.
Right.
And then the chakras are all there and they go, they go down. But let's think about this. Yoga comes from India.
Yes.
Okay. Everything comes from India. Like when we push it all back, the roots are in India.
They are. They are. Isn't it an energy flow too? I mean, this is what I have started in my meditation is that I, first of all, understanding where my chakras are. And
Yeah.
I haven't been able to reach that 12th one yet, but I never knew this.
Yeah. I'm more of a person that I'm a Mars girl. I'm not the chakra one that's going to be sitting in meditation things doing that. I'm more of but I will say there's a lot of good things and there's like energy, like the Pitta, the fire. And like, if you have too much fire in your chart, it's throwing that chakra off balance. And that's definitely all there. And you have to learn to balance. Like if you don't have a lot of earth in your chart, you're not grounded. And then you have to look at it through that. And I can give you a ton of people that are good with that, but I'm not good with that kind of stuff. I'm more about the psychological part of it.
And that is what I think it manifests itself so much is that when you were talking, what I was seeing inside is that most people are out of balance.
Yes.
They don't know where the balance is within themselves. And they're in such turmoil within themselves that turmoil, regardless of where they may have it in their charts, wherever the heavens may have spoken about them, but if they're in turmoil, they're going to miss it.
And if they didn't know about it, this is when people fall off the deep end. Okay? This is what takes a serial killer and a surgeon with the same chart and makes a serial killer or a surgeon. Okay, it's very true because if you look at the patterns in these charts, it's there. You can see, and like you have to learn different cultures because a chart in India is going to be different than a chart in the United States. And you have to know people. Like you have to know how they were raised. You have to know the psychology of them. And if you don't know that, to get somebody on the chakra balance beam or whatever it's called, good luck, because they're just confused.
Yeah.
And they have to believe this first. I do believe that. I mean, I have to. So I felt like, okay, just kind of like when you hear a different religion, you're like, it's
exactly.
Right? It's even the Bible. If somebody hears the Bible, they're like, why should I believe that? I mean, why? That's what the question you ask. Let's be honest. Everybody's going to ask that question. Why do they think they're right? Well, let me tell you. Like for me, it was the proof. The proof of this never failing every time I did somebody's birthday. So there's something there. And then when you tell somebody about their life through their chart and things that you can't Google,
right?
Things that you can't. It's very, very, very. It's powerful because you're like, how does this person know this? It beats any psychology session you'll ever have, ever.
So you've seen some remarkable, obviously you've seen the evidence. It's time after time. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Heidi, when you were reading mine, I just went, it literally knocked, you saw, I mean, it literally put me back in my chair. How did this knowledge exist?
Right.
Why don't we know about this?
Mm-hmm.
And when I see someone like yourself, and I have such deep admiration, because for myself, when I finally became aware, I call it awakening out of the God spell. And because that's what I see most people that we're under, because we don't think rationally. We get indoctrinated to a religion or to a concept, and then we filter everything through that concept.
Right. Never
knowing that really there's another alternative here. And I guess you're seeing that with your clients, right?
Well, yeah, and that's, that's the thing. I have so many Christians charts that I do, and I think because I still would say I'm a Christian. I mean, I've been saved a million times. It's not like I'm not a Christian. And people are like, no, she's not a Christian. She's doing astrology. That's satanic. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And the only reason why that bothers me is because I have a career and I don't need people to write that on my Facebook and on my YouTube when some Googled. But other than that, if I didn't have a career full-time, my other thing, I would 100% not care, because I just know. When you know something, you don't have to defend it. I mean, it's like, okay, you get a reading, you can just listen. I mean, it's so powerful. It's so, I don't know, Jesus wrote it, God wrote it, whoever wrote it, the higher power in control. And it's just interpreting things. And this is where your intuition, like my intuition and me knowing people and knowing how things are going also has a play in it. That's where I think I just, I know things, and then I know people's personalities. I know the patterns. I don't just study and read it just all based off of astrology. I can see certain things, but then I'm in my own zone. It's like the Heidi zone. And then it never fails. And if anything, yes, you can do the psychology with it too. And it's not all about, though, doom and gloom, because once you learn it, you accept it, and then you can use it for making your life better. Like, okay, so I know this is my gift, this is my talents, and this is my accidents. So I'm going to drive a little slower. I'm not going to be an idiot. I'm not going to text and drive anymore. I'm not going to, be reading emails on the Bay Bridge. I know I'm very accident prone, so I'm going to stop doing that. It's like common sense. It's like step by step. Then you know that you are an entrepreneur. You should be doing this. You're not going to work well for anybody. Then you find that thing, and then you can put it to use. It's in somebody's chart to invest money in something and it take off. Well, my software that I use, you search for this stuff, and you can literally search all these different dates, and it will tell you the best times to invest. It's called Murharta, and it means the best time to do something. And it's going to give you the best times at the best days, planets aligned to your chart. What's going to make it the best.
I just want to interject here. I worked with the Federal Reserve as a consultant, and let me tell you folks, and Heidi, we didn't even talk about this, but the Federal Reserve uses astrology in their forecasting.
Surprise, surprise.
I know,
Yes. Surprise, surprise. And I bet my life they use Vedic.
I bet, they do. They do.
Here's the thing. If the government has some powerful stuff with astrology, do you think they would tell everybody? Come on, if everybody knew it was right and you could make money, why would they tell us?
Exactly.
So we think about this. So we can be like, that's why they're powerful. That's why we believe that astrology is bad. That's why they reverse that. So they use it, and that is what it is. I think they're getting nervous because people are really understanding that astrology has some really good, incredible things that can happen.
What people don't understand, American taxpayers do not understand, that in the very elite places of our government, I have to be very careful how to say this.
I know, because I want to say something too, and I can't.
Let's just drop it. Let me just put it. Let's just say enough that those in power employ people like you.
Absolutely.
It's a fact. I happen to know as well within one of the, I think they're rated number 7 right now in size. Guess what they have? People like you.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if the elite use this knowledge, why wouldn't you? Right, Heidi? I mean,
Well, that's, yeah. Like,
when you were talking, I was thinking to myself, what if a person starting out at a very early point in life began to see exactly where their talents were without going down so many off ramps and getting lost sometimes the rest of their life?
yeah.
Never truly finding what they had.
How about a parent, okay, that has their child and, you know, tries to throw it in all the wrong stuff when that's not going to be for that kid.
Right.
And you know that when your kid says to you, oh, I want to take singing lessons, and you're like, that's crazy. I don't have kids, so I'm just making it up an example. And you know, your kid wants to do singing lessons. You're like, no, I want her to go play tennis.
Yeah.
And you know, she's going to be horrible at tennis. If you get her in singing lessons, she likes singing, she likes dancing, and she has the potential to be a famous singer. This is where, and really manifest this and be better than anybody else because she used this at such a young age. I mean, this is powerful. This is where it's like, use it for the best.
I look at it this, Heidi, as well, is that I do believe that people like you, Rex, Jeff, myself, other voices, and we're going to learn more of these voices because I believe the symphony of the choruses are coming together.
Yes.
That we have had the collective consciousness that the strings have been trying to come together. I think it's coming together. You have given me, and I will say this, folks, we're going to give Heidi's contact information here, but Heidi, what you have given me is such a precious gift that I don't know if words saying thank you is good enough. Because I think that if people could learn, and folks, when you block your mind out and you say, no, that is evil, that is bad, remember, it's only because of the glasses that you're seeing it through. You
Right.
take off the glasses, you may have 20/20 vision and never realized it, that you were out of focus to begin with, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And this is how I look at one thing I struggled with is how you're like the whole Christian thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if these people don't know what, they're just going to hell. You know, like if they didn't know that you have to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, that means you're just going to go to hell. Like that. Okay, so we need to be missionaries. We need to tell everybody the word of God. Okay, but there's still going to be a lot of people that don't know. Okay, so God's just going to say, too bad, that person's going to hell. Like that. There are just things like common sense things that were very hard for me to even just make sense of. So I think that there's good points in religion as structure, but let's be honest. If you were brought up in Syria and you were brought up Islam, Muslim, you know, and they think they're right.
Yeah, they do.
You know, it's like, why? And it's like that religion, Jewish, and the whole Islam, Muslim, and Christianity and Catholics, it's so like rules. Like Hindu, the whole Hindu thing, Vedic, and it's not just Hindu, because Hindu even twisted it. It's Vedic, the Vedic science. Okay,
yes.
Vedic.
Yes.
It's more just doing the right thing, having common respect for laws and loving the earth, loving this, loving that, being grounded, not doing any harm to people, yourself. It logistically, it's like the only religion, in my opinion, that makes sense, because when you think about these things, why do they have all these rules? Because in the Bible, they stoned people, they hurt all these people. It's like every religion had all these crazy things that still weren't all that nice. You know, it was, and they're all fighting. Religion is war. Like we're fighting wars because of religions.
We are.
It's not. So anybody that's getting sunken into that, in my opinion, is following, you know, not the cosmic rules. Like
Well, they're not following the path. I mean, I wrote today on an individual who I did a video talking in creation versus the RH factor. And no one wants to address, well, how did monkey blood get into our DNA? How did it become part of us? So there's a lot of answers. But anyway, the point that I was telling this gentleman was this. Listen, what I have seen in Christianity was this, that when I began to learn that when gods require humans to spill other humans' blood in the name of a god, I don't want to have any part of that God.
Right.
Because I don't know you, but I wouldn't want to say, well, because you didn't believe the way I do, that you're going to have to die. Well,
right.
Who has that right?
Right. Then you're playing God. Then,
yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the problem that I feel like is going on right now, is everybody's trying to play God.
Yeah.
And that's one thing in India, like Hindu, there's a million religions in India, but with Hindus, they don't play God. You know, they don't ever, it's like all in one. And it's all the same principle. It's all the same principles. Once again, I think everything was stolen from India. And like the numeric system, like I was saying this before and I kind of got distracted, but you know, everything's run on numbers.
Everything.
India made numbers. So why would so in my opinion, this is common sense, their astrology is right. If you take a star chart app and stick it in the sky, like the trackthestars.com or whatever, and if you put it in the sky right now, I tell everybody to do this test. You can see Saturn is at 27 degrees of Scorpio. It's not in Sagittarius. It's not in Capricorn. It's in Scorpio, which is the sidereal zodiac. It's a sign behind. And it's like, for me, I'm all about the proof. So when I can see that, I can see that the conjunction, that the full moons and the new moons are in what my astrology says, that's what I'm looking at real time. So I'm seeing this, it's matching to this, and it's never fails. And I'm not saying Western astrology doesn't work, because it does. Like phenomenal Western astrologers. So I would never say that. I actually bring people on my channel that are Western astrologers that talk about the outer planets, because it's a gift that everybody has. However you interpret it, it's your own can of worms. It's just knowing about them, the basics. I mean, because I can read a Western astrology chart, Western way and Vedic way, and make the same conclusion. It's just however, you can work it. It's just, that knowledge is there. The space, the heavens, whatever you want to call it. It's there. That's the only thing we can see too. And that's,
yes, it is.
So in my opinion, that's God showing us who God is, like from that.
By the way, your channel is Channel 27, right? Your YouTube channel?
Yes.
And you have a website as well?
Yeah, it's oneofakindbyheidi.org to book readings. But if you don't want to book a reading and just want to see, my friend Jenny Moonstone and I, we do live readings every week so people can get a taste. So.
And by the way, I the one last night was classic. It was fun.
Yeah. You can't judge.
But
right.
Listen, folks, there is a science to this, and no matter how much you want to fight it inside because of the dogma that we all have been done, because here's the facts. The Semites, the Semitics, which were the Hebrews, learned from the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were the best ancient astronomers, and they were the ones, I believe, has worked right there with India as well, that shared this knowledge of the heavens, the stars. So astrology is as old as we are.
Right.
Would you say that would be a correct statement?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's what I would look at it and say. And, there's a lot of fighting going on right now, even in the
astrology. What are you seeing right now? I mean, what would you say that your overall impression of our world is at the moment?
Oh, you might not want me to go there right now.
Well, I often say that, no matter how the information is transmitted, whether it be good or bad, to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
how I look at things.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if I had a diagnosis of an illness, I'd want to know about it.
right.
Yeah.
I think some people wouldn't though. You know how
I
some
think it's
people
true.
are? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
So some people don't want it because look, it's like the thing with Santa Claus. This sounds so stupid, but think about this. When my babysitter told me that Santa Claus wasn't true, I hated my parents for like 3 weeks. Okay. I was like, they lied to me, those jerks. Like, this is so dumb. But I was mad. And they start you off as a kid and lie about Santa. Right? Oh God, I hope no kids watch this. I'm sure they won't. But think about this.
This is a channel for truth, so get over it, kids.
You start out learning fake stories that your parents are not. You know, your parents
predicated on a lie, by the way.
Starting it out on a lie where you're immediately decepted, and when you're Scorpio rising, you don't take lies well. So I started out immediately with a lie.
Okay.
Not from my parents. You know, you're mad or whatever. So when somebody believes something, and I was only like 4 or 5, right?
Right.
So think about this. If you think something's right for a whole 30 years of life, 35, 60, and then you have to know, it's a lot of like, that takes some sucking up, some serious, it's like annoying, stressful egos. How these people lied to me for all these years. So that's where I think there's like a problem with it. Nobody wants to just like accept it. And who cares? Learn from it. Learn from it was a guided path that you took to help you on your route and made you not go crazy. Like look at it from the positive side. And look at, you know, right now this world is in shambles. You want my opinion? We are in one freaking shitstorm, period. Yeah. I mean, all over the map.
I agree.
I don't think it could get any crazier from how people are acting, how people are reacting, how we're so divided, how we're so, all the tragedies that are happening, all the like the stuff that I'm learning about, like some of the conspiracies with the, you know, I'm not going to, just a lot of stuff that I didn't even know went down. And we're in a lot of trouble. Like how much crazier is it going to get before?
Well, just before we got on here, North Korea just launched 3 missiles over Japan.
Yeah. And like I said in Rex's video, that North Korea stuff just started. Okay. The Gandanta, Saturn at this 27th degree, the grounding is just starting. It just started right when the hurricane came. So and I believe this because I believe the chart. So when I take these and interpret them all together, this is why you can see why it's not always 100%. And I hope to God, you have to put the energy out there that you hope it doesn't. You can do that. And
that's why we do 60 Seconds for Humanity as a counterbalance to, folks, this it's coming downhill, right? I mean,
it is. And the more crazy and divided everybody is, and the more screwed up the whole right, the left, the this way, that way, I hate you, this religion, that religion, the more crazy it gets like that, I believe God, a higher power, he's going to get tired of it. And then that's what's going to happen.
Well, you and I were talking about this eclipse and the pictures that I got, which no one, apparently people are saying that this is something ominous. And I think it was too. I think that you just get a bad vibe out of this. And then I don't find it coincidence that 3 days later, we have a hurricane that ends up forming out of basically nothing. A hurricane that's made 3 landfalls, that has absolutely done things that modern humans have never seen.
Yeah. And then, you know, and if we say that everything's, okay, so then you can take that route and say, okay, everything's man-made, whatever. We made the hurricanes. We'll go that route.
All right.
Guess what? They're making the hurricanes based off with astrology timing then. Like, I think that's what okay, so then we still know we should still look out for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like if you watch some David Icke or watch some of that stuff, if you think the moon's fake, then there's still facts that happen. A full moon, hospitals are overstaffed, more police cars are out. I listen to a police scanner 24/7. I know on Pisces days people are overdosed with heroin. I know all these things. Domestic violence happens when I listen to it from a police scanner. So I check these things.
Full moons, more births. More women give birth in full moons.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. And it's more, and accidents with this Mars and Saturn conjunct, that means accidents. There's so many patterns that are in the stars and in the heavens, 100%.
I have friends in law enforcement, and if they're pulling the night shift on a full moon, I mean, each one of them go, well, you might as well get ready because the craziness is going to happen.
They always call it overtime.
Yes.
Every time it's overtime on my scanner. It's does anybody want to do overtime? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I wrote a post on my Facebook once. I was like, this is kind of odd and then I realized, and then I talked to a few people that were in law enforcement. One of my good friends is the sheriff of a town. And he said, like, yeah, they do it. And they don't think a bit about it like astrology. You know,
so, maybe we could change a little subjects here. I want to get back to the Federal Reserve. Can you see anything in your charts that what I am hearing is that there is a big shocker coming financially to us folks? I'm curious, Heidi, do the stars show anything in this area?
Next year, I think it's going to be the shakeup. March, I think that's when the finances are going to hit.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, this is different for each person, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I look at it, you know, this is where people can take advantage of things.
Yes. Yes.
This is when you get smart. This is
More
where
millionaires were made during the Depression, folks, than any other time. Yes. In 2008, in the great financial collapse, more money was made by Jeff Bezos, and we could just start going right down the line. So you're absolutely right, Heidi.
Right. And then really get smart about it. Look at your chart and time at the right exact time and make sure that it is. Because, you know, a lot of astrologers will say, you know, Warren Buffett says millionaires or billionaires use astrology. You know, that it's true. It's a known fact. And then, you know, you can just make so much. And he says itself, don't buy. When do you want to buy stock? Is when nobody else is buying it. Common sense. It makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you buy houses when nobody's buying houses.
Yeah.
You want to, when the interest rates and when I sell homes, I was a loan officer and do real estate. And I say 1% of an interest rate is $90,000 of a sales price. Do you think you're going to get this house $90,000 cheaper? And I show them the scenario. And I say, because in 1 year, I promise you this interest rate will be up to 5.25%. Right. So you're paying $90,000 for this house. And it's so true. And they're like, wow, I didn't even think about that. And it's not even a hoax. It's not like a scam. It's the truth. Because it's all about timing it right.
Yes, yes. How many times have we heard it's not so much being lucky, it's being at the right place at the right time?
That's true.
The stars will tell us that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely they will. Yes.
I love this. So I see what I see for this country, and I see the things that are coming down. I want to help us, my audience, and Heidi, I hope you come back again and again.
Yeah.
Because we'll do a live show next time. Because I don't do live shows. I haven't figured it out yet. But
don't worry. I'm still learning all those ropes myself.
Okay. So as I see this, what are you seeing generally, let's say, and I don't know, can you say for the country as a whole? Do you ever look at things like this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, what do you see? What do you see coming? I know because I'm going to get thousands of questions. They're going to say, well, what's coming down the line? So I'll turn it back over to you.
It has the potential to be really ugly, but I look at this as anybody's chart. Like my chart's ugly, right? Mm-hmm. But I can manifest it in a certain way where it's not. I can take control of that chart and make sure I don't come out a terrorist, right? Like I can do that. Right. I know that's in there, that anger is in there, that vibe, like I can get really mad when I need to, but you know it. So when we know a certain thing is like about to unfold, which we do, it's common sense. Turn the TV on. It's like turn the TV on, look around, just bring up a comment about Donald Trump, see what happens, right? It's real simple.
Yeah.
Real simple. Just drop the name, see what happens. It's like, okay, it's scary.
It is
really scary. We're fighting our own people. Like here in the United States, people hate each other. 100% hate each other because of who they believe and who they like and who, it's nonsense. And so, like, does Donald Trump call you for dinner? Does he ask you what you want on your dinner plate? No. Don't worry about it. I mean, people need to open up their minds and relax.
Yes.
Because they're not happy, and this is the only thing that they can use it for, because there's a lot of intense energy right now, lots of it. But guess what? This happens every year. Every year. This is an intense time. Okay. Look, that's when the Nibiru's come out. They say this is when the asteroids hit.
September 23rd. Everyone's talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I just want a little anecdote about Donald Trump. I met Donald Trump in 1991 when he was opening up the Taj Mahal. Actually, rode up the elevator and got a chance to talk to him. He's a nice guy.
Yes.
He really is. I met Hillary Clinton. I didn't find her to be a witch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And my whole thing is just like, it's respect. Like,
yes.
Anybody that's in a position that's a higher position than me, whether I like them or not, it's just like common courtesy. Until I know that they've done something traumatic that really like did damage and hurt, like, something's, I don't know, we're not even gonna go there. But until I have my own proof, I know his chart. I know his soul.
Well, we're going to talk about
Only
that.
president that has gave the birth time.
Interesting.
I know his intentions.
By the way, folks, Heidi, I want to say what I'm seeing down in Houston, I'm seeing something I didn't expect to see. I'm seeing humanity rise in consciousness. Now, I don't know how long it's going to last, but it is there. So getting back to our president, 45th president, what do you see about him?
He's a trooper, man. He's a soldier. He can handle it all. Like he's the only person that can handle this. And
the right person for the right time.
Right person for the right time. That's for sure, because nobody else could handle this. And he didn't cause this.
No, he inherited this mess.
He inherited this. And I'm not talking about the financial mess. I'm talking about the emotional train wreck everybody is in. He inherited a big blast of heavy charts. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. Heavy charts, heavy energy. So, and I won't go down the Trump train because I always lose subscribers. People get mad and offended and whatever. But, I look at it like, get a reading, see if it's accurate from me. If I'm right about you with your chart, I'm telling you, I know Donald Trump up, down, right, and left, and his intentions are good. So that's how I look at it. He has a family. He loves his family. Look at his kids. His kids are all good kids. They are all successful. People are like, oh, they're this, they're this. And I'm like, look at them. Like, they're classy.
When do we start villainize success? This is what I don't understand.
That's the problem.
So we get the Clintons, who basically rake in $1.2 billion in a foundation of a nonprofit that you can't account for the money, but that is somehow raised up in elevation that we have an individual who was already wealthy, which tells me he's not going to steal from me. He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. Not to mention, now, I always say this, because if Donald Trump was 30, I would not have voted for him. Because his chart at a 30-year-old chart is a lot different than his chart now. Okay?
Indeed.
Point blank. It's just lesson learned. I mean, he learned his lessons. He wasn't a saint. He had financial messes. He did the wrong, but the moral of the story is he worked hard.
He did.
He knows the reason why he's in politics is because he's in real estate. And when you build buildings, you do go up the ladders in politics. When I sold new construction, I would go to commissioner meetings.
You didn't have to.
Why I'm friends with the sheriff. It's like, so it's funny because people are like, oh, he's been set up from day one. No, he's not. I don't believe that that's all. He was selected from the higher power.
He was.
He was.
Hey, no different than when Eisenhower, Churchill, when we had Roosevelt, Patton. Ladies and gentlemen, the world was in turmoil back there in the late 20s and the 30s. But Heidi, the higher power, brought these people in at the right time. And I believe, like, I'm right with you. I would rather have that man in the office than Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I just be very candid with you.
So seriously, that all I know is my intuition is spot on too. And because I can read people, just when I look at that woman, something is off in my, I just don't have good vibes.
And got good reason.
Okay, so and that's just me, and I
But
accept
that's just it. Listen, and all we're saying here is just the obvious. Everything that we have said about these two individuals, and we're not reliving 2016 over, it's just that the fact we have to deal with what we have. And
Yes.
My concern, Heidi, and I haven't seen the stars, but when I continue to see this division, a house divided against itself can't stand, neither can a nation.
Yeah.
Are we going to have an opportunity for unity, you think?
I think the more people that talk about stuff like this, the more we get these messages out, that's the only way
To counter
to fix it. Because, for instance, I just went to the White House, and I visited the White House, and we had a tour, and I live really close to DC. And on the way out, the Uber driver that was taking me to my car, he said a comment, and I told him we were at the White House, telling him about my day. He's like, and I said to him, is the Trump hotel close by? He's like, yeah. And when I drive by it every day, I turn the Trump hate music up, blah, 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 blah. Right? And okay. So I said, oh, you're not going to let. So here's the thing. The more message that you can send out, because right now they're blaming it on him, the more people that know about that everybody's just kind of going through a rough time right now, period, emotional.
Yeah.
People's emotions are just on fire. And if you're not like getting mad about the election and stuff, I always say, turn the news on, look at other countries. It's not just here, there's a flood.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Look at what's going on in these other countries. And when you look at stuff like that globally, so I'm talking about global. I'm not talking about the United States. We're like I mean, like from a big scale. We all need to just be together. We all need to not hate each other. We need to get over the whole racist thing. Even some of the people that are suppressed, whatever, the KKK stuff that was, it's nuts. Like people are nuts. Everybody's nuts.
And they're doing this on purpose, folks. Listen, regardless of where you stand politically, Heidi, this is what I tell people. We're going to have to drop this stuff. We're going to have to drop the political ideologies. We're going to have to drop the religious ideologies. At some point in time, we are going to have to recognize, ladies and gentlemen, that we are a species with many different races. Yeah. It makes us unique.
Right.
Now, the higher powers, you can call them God, you can call them Source, you can call them the Christ, you can call them whatever, Buddha, doesn't matter. They care for us. Now, I'll say this, our species has been under attack. And the division, Heidi, the hate is what we have to reject. I mean, listen, other people have spoken these words before. Gandhi, very many great Christs that have come through. Heidi, we need someone today to begin to say, stop the madness, folks.
I know. And like, who's going to do it? I mean, that's the thing. Everybody's so freaking headstrong right now.
Yeah.
If you say stop the madness, and you know what, that person is all blah, 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 blah. All the trolls come out. Like the internet is so almost, I think, like I'm very old school. I'm a Post-it writer. I mean, I'm somebody that it just is what it is. I just learned from my neighbor. Kids aren't even learning cursive anymore.
No.
So everything's technology.
Yeah.
Okay. The technology is taking over us. We can blame it on anything we want. So why don't we take technology and use it for the right reasons? Use it for this. Talk about stuff like this. Think about it. The more people that go out and just talk about everyday life and learn about yourself, I'll tell you, when you learn about yourself, it's a lot different. Like it's literally, once you learn who you are and why you're supposed to be here, I promise you, all that anger goes away. It really does.
Yeah, and I don't look at you and look for a reason to hate you. I'm waiting for you to say the magic word, and so I'm waiting, and there, and you check it off. And now you're a racist or you're a bigot or whatever. I mean, I tell people all the time, if you're calling other people racist, remember this. When you're pointing your finger, there's 3 more pointing back at you. Yeah. It means you're a racist. because only a racist will call another person a racist. And this is how it gets all messed up. Folks, we're not racist. We're humans.
Yes.
We're Homo sapiens.
Right.
Complex, yes, good and bad. Like you said, you can be a terrorist or you can be the tower of a pillar that leads millions of people to enlightenment.
Right. And you know, it's so true that when you say that, you know what I do? When I go on a plane, okay, people are scared. And there's a war with religion too.
Yes,
right?
there is. Yeah.
People, I didn't know the difference between somebody that was Islam, Muslim, from India, from this part of India, North India, South India. There's all kinds of different cultures going on there.
Yep.
And us as Americans, being as sheltered in our bubbles as we are, we don't either. So we see somebody walk down and we have that, oh God, right? Because of 9/11, blah, blah, blah. Guess what I do? Heidi sits by that person on the plane. Why?
Yeah.
Because I try to talk. I want to know about them. This is what I do. Friend your enemies, and I'm not saying they're even enemies. I just did this to learn about them. Because when you learn about other cultures, other religions, other things, it's not what the media says. It's not all that. There are radical Christians like radical Islam, right?
Yes.
I was reading the Bible, and when I thought the world was coming to an end, when the millennium was coming, just like now, the September 23rd, then that date will get pushed. Like it's always something, you know. It's then something happens. They find another.
They're gonna kick the can down the alley.
That it's good. That Y2K is turning into whatever.
By the way, I made a lot of money on Y2K, and I can't.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And then this is what happens, and everybody gets all hyped up and worried about it. And everybody's like, "Oh my God!" I was reading Revelations. I thought the world was ending. I was online reading, but really I was just miserable. And I was reading the Quran, and I thought I was reading Revelations. So this was a big eye opener for me. It was the same.
How did that happen?
It was the same story. This is before astrology, and that was a big eye opener for me.
I bet it was.
And Muslim, Islam, there's a lot of peace in it. Okay, so there's a lot of peace in all these religions. It's in Christianity, it can be, but it's the people that are on like the defense that are trying to fight it because they probably know that it's not that true, right? That's probably what it is.
I think they know that inside. I really do. I really
know that it's all man-made and controlled. Yeah. And the real God and the peace is being happy in life and helping people and doing the right thing and making sure nobody suffers, making sure nobody is hurting and is in suffering. And the more people you help, the better your life will be. And I promise you that. It's so true. It's like that nice rule, whatever.
Well, and isn't it? That's karma. And you know, it's the golden rule. It is do unto others. I mean, why do we get so, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking? We get so complicated about things.
Everything. And then there's a conspiracy for everything. It's like, you know, and you can go down that train too, where you think everybody's a reptile or you know, and look, we're all freaking aliens, in my opinion. We all dropped out of the sky. Who knows? Nobody knows. There's no proof. So why are we going to sit around and worry about it?
And why would I want to go to war with you? Because I can't figure out the beginning, and neither can you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Nobody knows.
No one knows. That's so true, Heidi. So true. Well, listen, I know I've kept you longer than I had, but again, tell everyone how to get in touch with you, and because I want you to come back, because I'm sure the next time we're going to have even more questions. Yeah. And I just, I'll have some of my own, like you and I were talking before. I had this question with Heidi, and I said, do you think artificial intelligence is influenced by the zodiac?
Yes.
If it's created by man, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, by extension, our lives are dictated by the star. Now, it always comes to that question, Heidi, you know, is it predestination or pre-choice?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know that it's tough, but I will say this. There's no rules to astrology. Like there's basics, okay? There's the houses, there's the planets, there's the signs. But the interpretation and how you learn it and learn it from people and learn how to talk it and how I don't play God with astrology. I don't make predictions. I don't ever do that. And that's one thing. When you start going to the God level and thinking you're God, that's when you have the problem. in my opinion.
Well said. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's the truth. And that's why I don't step on certain boundaries. I don't say, oh, this is going to happen to you on this day, take it or leave it. Because I can tell you, with my chart, it's going to be a hit or miss. It could. It's 50-50. And I've learned from spending so much money on astrology readings to find out that none of that stuff ever happened. So you take the gift of it and utilize it to improve your life, not control your life. I use it to control my life, but not me. I can control it with my life because it's me. But I don't do that with anybody else. But a lot of times, just like a religion, it's the same thing. And there's so many fights right now. There's fights over zodiac signs. You can see this everywhere. It's not just religion. It's in the astrology world, for God's sakes. And all we can do is what I do is I go and talk to the Western astrologers. I try to bring them on my channel because the more I know about Western astrology, the more I know about astrology. Just like the more we learn about Islam, Muslim, you will become more religious or more knowledgeable with Christianity. Yes. It's like, open up your minds. The more open your mind is, the more knowledge is power. Stop being so closed mind.
Boy, I'll tell you, I don't know how we could end it any better on that. And I'll tell you, Heidi, when I left, I try to leave people, I tell people be kind to one another. That's kind of my moniker at the end of everything I do. But when you just said something, what I got inside that, I'm getting better at this, by the way, when the impressions come in, when people speak, there's something there. But when you were talking, what I saw was this whirlwind, and it's trying to get humanity wrapped up in it. And we have the opportunity that where we can step away and we can absolutely ignore this whirlwind and say, no, we're not going to participate in the hate. We're not going to participate in the separation. We're going to be respectful. You can believe the way that you can as long as we can live in harmony with one another. Isn't that the purpose? Isn't that the goal?
And the protesting, I think, is one of our biggest things. Like this whole go out and free speech it, and go out with your parties, and no matter what, the protest, that is really leading us down. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have the right to do it or you can't do it, because I agree with free speech. But what I know, like what we know with the groups that are paid and the corruption, okay? We are being tested by our government, by people that are in the elites, whoever they are. They might be in Europe, they might be in, who knows? They might be living on a spaceship. We don't know.
I just got this whole thing when you were talking. To all the protesters, to all those who want to have a voice, why don't we do the largest single voice by not saying a word at all? When you go out to protest, speak silence.
Yes.
That speaks volumes, does it not, Heidi?
And listen.
Yes.
And listen. When you sell homes, anything, you don't spiel because nobody listens. Okay. When you listen to somebody, you learn so much more than anything. Even reading and listening from your ears and listening to what everybody has to say. It's like, but when everybody goes out and it's shouting and it's all this craziness, the best thing to do is to remain silent and keep your opinions to yourself. And it's until you're at a point where your life is threatened, I guess. But like this stuff is.
Well, if people are yelling at you and you say nothing at all, it's going to get contagious. Yeah. Maybe the person yelling at the other person, by the other person not saying anything at all, the person yelling will realize the most protest that you could make is say nothing at all.
Isn't it called a peaceful silent protest or whatever?
I believe it is. Well, we used to do it back. Yeah. Listen,
silence.
When I got tear gassed in 1974, marching against the Vietnam War, what we found was just that. And many of folks that remember that time back then, we would absolutely lock arms and say nothing at all. And we spoke volumes by that.
Yeah.
Maybe we could start something.
And I do agree. And I think that it's okay to be, passionate about
Oh,
something, and
absolutely.
everybody should be. But why don't you take all that protesting, passionate energy and put it into what you really love to do and what you want to do, and you won't be wanting to protest anymore. Like, you won't have time. Like, so I wish I could go down and protest. Like, are you kidding me? I don't have time to go down and protest. That's the problem. People have too much time, no hobbies, no ambitions, and no things. Because if we're doing something that you love, the last thing you'd want to be doing is picketing signs, dealing with that stuff. Because we're way past that.
But why don't we, instead of carrying the signs, why don't you go out to the homeless shelters? Why don't you go down to the soup kitchens? Why don't you go in there and start visiting the nursing homes? Why don't you go out there and start shedding love instead of hate? Go out there and start helping your fellow man. Go to the hospitals where you have people, children that are dying of cancer, that have lost limbs. Why don't you go into the hospitals and put your signs down? Go in and start loving your fellow man instead of hating him.
So true.
Heidi, love you, girl.
It looks like we could go on tirades.
It is. So one more time, give everyone your contact information, and I'm going to have you back if you would grace us again.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's One of a Kind by Heidi.org is my website, and then my YouTube channel is channel 27 with my name after it. So I am pretty booked with reading, so you have to just be patient with me because I'm really trying to catch up. So. But,
you'll be in the queue.
Yeah, you'll be in the queue.
Well, Heidi, again, thank you so much, everyone. I do appreciate you tuning in, and everyone, be kind to one another.
That's all you need to do. Be nice. Open
Thank
up
you, Heidi. All right.